Oh, hello everybody, didn't see you there. I hope you're all well and dandy out there in Beatles world, YouTube land, record collectors, people of the interweb and the VC. First of all, apologies if I sound a bit groggy. It is because I am groggy. I have just getting over the dreaded flu. So if I cough and sneeze, I will apologise. Secondly, another apology for all of you that was waiting for the premiere yesterday. For some reason, I don't know what actually happened. I did the video, I downloaded it onto my laptop, set it as a premiere, it all went through, and then just before it was due to go out, it said something about this video has not uploaded properly. So I went to look at the video, and apparently they'd wiped it. Somehow the video had been wiped. So I'm going to have to do this video all over again. Today we are going to be looking at this, the John Lennon box set. This is a Japanese edition, and we will be going into this in some detail in a few minutes. I've also got a UK copy over there. There's things for both of them which I will go into as we go along. Excuse me one sec. So if I do cough in this video, I will apologise. The basic of this video is, I did actually make a video on this Japanese box set. It was one of the first proper videos I did over 2 years ago, and looking back on it, the video isn't really that good. And somebody has actually commented and said, Dave, we know you've got this box set, can you do a fresh video of it? So I thought, yeah, okay. But first of all, are you ready? It's time for some Beatle Dave's twist and shout outs. For today, I just have to put my glasses on. I've got to be careful because my glasses are falling to bits as well at the minute. I can see you all now. Hello. Right, the first twist and shout out goes to Matthew Shelbourne, who has been a subscriber to the channel for about a year and a half, I think, maybe a bit longer. So here's your twist and your shout out, Matthew. You always comment, and your comments are always very, very positive, so thank you very much, mate. The second one is Alan Young. So here's your twist, Alan, and your shout out to Alan Young, who is a fairly new subscriber, I think. Great to have you aboard, mate. You know, it's much appreciated. The next one is somebody who has basically been with me since day one, I think. One of the first people that ever subscribed to my channel, and it's Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Always leaves fantastic comments, very, very supportive. So here's your twist and your shout out to Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Very, very knowledgeable person, and like I say, your support and everything is very much appreciated. The fourth and final one is actually a YouTube channel. He hasn't asked me to plug him. I'm just doing it because I've been watching some of his videos, and is a fantastic little channel, to be honest. It's Dino V. And the last ones that I've been watching is where he's been going to Friar Park, George's house, and he went past a pub which I actually had the pleasure of meeting George Harrison in many, many years ago. So that's the Beatle Dave's twist and shout outs done. And now we'll get on to the main feature, which is the Japanese edition of the John Lennon box set. This is an 8 LP box set, although technically there's 9 LPs in it because one is a double. It goes from 1969's live piece in Toronto up to 1975's Shaved Fish. So it's basically John's solo Apple sort of like output, if you don't include the experimental albums. With this, you do get some extras, and the sound quality on this is absolutely fantastic. The only downside with the Japanese box set is you don't get the inner sleeves, you know, with the lyrics and things like that, or posters if there's posters, whereas in the British one you do, although this one does sound superb. If you was just getting into John Lennon, this is probably the box set for you. These are all the original mixes. They haven't been remastered or remixed or anything like that. They're the proper analogue mixes of the original albums, and to be honest, it's about as close as you're going to get to getting the original albums. And usually you can pick this up for around the £150 mark. I've been on eBay today. There's one on there at the minute which is up for, I think, £87. That's the UK one. You will pay a little bit more for this Japanese one because you're paying for the sound quality, although technically you're not getting as much in here as what you do in the UK one, although the contents are technically the same. So you get your Obi, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the records out and then we'll have a good look, and I'll go into deep dive. I'll take everything out, so just bear with 1 second, folks, because there's a lot in this. Put that there like that, and oh, it says okay. So this is the box. That is coming off at the side, and you do get a thing there, so if you put your finger through there you can get the records out, okay, and that is basically the albums that are on it. This was released in 1981, you know, just after John had died. Like I say, if you're getting into John Lennon, this is probably the cheapest way of getting all the original albums, and what I consider to be the albums as John wanted you to hear them. They haven't been remixed or remastered or anything like that. They are as basically he'd recorded and produced them and things like that. And if you go into certain shops like HMV in the UK, a John Lennon album on its own is going to cost you best part of £30–35. So if you can pick one of these up for around the £100 mark, £150 mark, you are getting a bargain in one way, aren't you? Cheers, by the way. Remember, Beetle Dave. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. So, if you're sitting comfortably, I'll get into what we get in this box set. You did get this in it, which is a Lennon, the Liverpool Echoes tribute to John Lennon. This was in the British ones as well, but unfortunately my British copy hasn't got this in it. And it is basically a tribute to John. 9 times out of 10, this will not be in the box. I think basically because people cut it up and stuck the pictures on the wall and stuff. That is one of the last photos, isn't it? I'm not being funny, but that doesn't do anything for John, does it? It does actually look quite ill on that. But he became a vegetarian and stuff, didn't he? Those swinging 60s and the working class era, you know, there is some good things in here. This is actually really nice read. Like I say, this is usually missing on most of them, John and Cynthia. So you get that in it. You also get, so if I put my head down, you also get this poster, which I don't think was in the original box set. It might have been, but this does actually look like it's been on somebody's. Although that does say Toshiba, doesn't it? Toshiba EMI. So maybe this was in this box set. It wasn't in the UK box set. Thank Your Lucky Stars was like a weekly TV pop show in the UK. Then we get an insert in Japanese telling you about all the albums. Obviously I can't read this because I can't read Japanese, but which you didn't get, well obviously you won't get that in the British one anyway. And then you get this, which is the John Lennon box, and it basically tells you the words to the songs, and they are written in both English and Japanese, which again you didn't get the words to the songs in the UK copy. So this is all the bonus bits that you don't get in the UK copy basically. Now we'll get onto the albums. It's a bit strange because some of these are on Apple and some of them are on Odeon, where the UK box set everything was on Apple. So if you're ready, we'll go through these lovely albums. The first one is Live Peace in Toronto from 1969, although I think it was released in January of 1970, wasn't it? Stereo EAS 7161. Very underrated LP in a lot of ways. Technically this was the first ever LP or live LP to feature a Beatle that was officially released. I think I'm in Martin saying that, aren't I? It's a Plastic Ono band. On this occasion it was John Lennon guitar and vocals, Yoko Ono vocals, screaming, wailing, shouting, whatever you want to call, Eric Clapton on guitar, courtesy of Polydor Records, Klaus Voormann on bass guitar and Alan White on drums, produced by John and Yoko for Bag Productions, and being born in Scotland carries with it certain responsibilities. Derek Taylor, it says on the bottom there. So that is the track listing. So of course this was for the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival thing, wasn't it? Side 1 is the outstanding side, by the way. Most people who have this album, I bet, have never ever played side 2. So side 1 is Blue Suede Shoes, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Your Blues, Cold Turkey and Give Peace a Chance. Side 2 is Don't Worry Kyoko, Mummy's Only Looking for Her Hand in the Snow, and John John Let's Hope for Peace. I think it's a fine album. The only downside is basically it's only a one-sided album, isn't it? No disrespect to Yoko, but how many people play side B? Very, very lovely sounding record, by the way. Not quite 180 gram, but that is the labels. Again, this is on Odeon, where every other copy I've ever seen is on Apple. Side 2. Side 1. So that is the first LP. I will try and make this as quick as I can, but I am trying to do justice to it as well, because as I said, I think this is actually quite an overlooked box set nowadays. Only slight criticism I've got of this box set is the records sound lovely. The covers aren't as good as the UK ones. They're very dull and they're not really laminated. So this is John's technically first official solo album after leaving the Beatles. John Lennon Plastic Ono Band. Released on Apple, of course. But with this, because you don't get the inner sleeve, you don't get the songs of it, because it's a blank back. That is supposed to be pixelated, by the way. That is a very, very young John Lennon. Hello, it's John. So welcome with his voice, it's John. His Primal Scream album, his heavy rock album, whatever you want to call it. Fantastic album in a lot of ways. Got to try to stop trying to say all the time. This one is actually on Apple, and it's on the white Apple label, like it was in the UK. So that is side 1. And this is side 2. These albums are actually in really, really nice condition. For saying I actually play these copies more than I play the ones in the British box set. They're not my everyday playing copies, don't get me wrong, but if I ever play this box set, it is usually this Japanese one. And on the system I've got downstairs, it sounds absolutely fantastic. If you don't know the song titles, because you could be new to John Lennon or new to the Beatles or new to this channel, I'll just go through them. So side 1, you've got Mother, Hold On, I Found Out, Working Class Hero and Isolation. Working Class Hero is an absolutely fantastic song. In the UK it was released as the B-side of Imagine in 1975. On side 2 you've got Remember, Love, fantastic song. Love is real, real is love. Well, 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 Look at Me, God, and My Mum is Dead. Is this John's greatest ever album? Some people will say this is song for song, this is better than Imagining. You know, it's what it is. You know, it is a fantastic album. In some ways, very, very underrated. in the John Lennon catalogue, although I think a lot of people do appreciate this now more than what they used to. On here it's just John. Ringo was on drums, Klaus was on bass, Yoko was on wind or something, and I think Phil Spector and Billy Preston played piano on a couple of tracks. Fantastic LP. Well worth checking out if you haven't got it. But if you are going to get it, try and get an original 1970s pressing. That is all I will say. I know you can get a double, like, reissued album of that now, but these are all the original analog masters. Imagine all the people living for today. Whoa. Yes, this is John's masterpiece, isn't it? You can't, there's no denying this is probably his most famous LP. On Apple, and you get this custom Apple label with John's face on it on side one, and then you get the slightly different apple, sliced apple on side two. Again, if you don't know the track list now, I'll just say it just for completeness. You've got Imagine, you've got Crippled Inside, Jealous Guy, It's So Hard and I Don't Want to Be a Soldier. That is side one. Side two, you get Give Me Some Truth, Oh My Love, oh my love, for the first time in my life. That is a song that me and Sue actually danced to on our wedding. How Do You Sleep? What's that bit about, Paul? Why and Oh Yoko. Oh Yoko, oh Yoko. A more sort of like polished album than the Plastic Ono Band album. And obviously this is the album that everybody really remembers John for, isn't it, I think. Again, the cover is not as good as the UK cover. It's not exactly a criticism, it's just an observation. Excuse me for one sec. There was for one sec. Okay, I'm sorry about that, folks. I just had a coughing and a sneezing fit, and I didn't really want to share that with you. I like to share everything with you, but some things you don't want to see, aren't they? Now up to 1972. Sometime in New York City. I'm just putting that there because there's a word on there that I don't like seeing. This is a double album, so technically, although it's classed as an 8-album set, you get 9 records, or do you? Because the second album of this is really just like a jam album, isn't it? Gatefold sleeve. John's most political album, and probably his weakest album as well in a lot of ways, although there's some fantastic songs on this. I love The Look of the Irish. I think that could have been a single and would probably have been a minor hit. You've got John Sinclair, which is okay. New York City is a fantastic song. Again, because you don't get the original inners on this, you just get like these plastic inner sleeves on all of these LPs. So you're missing, if there's like words to the songs and stuff, you're missing all that on these Japanese ones, which is the only criticism. I will just show one of these LPs because the labels are exactly the same, and it is the custom label where John turns into Yoko, or Yoko turns into John. And I'm sure you all know all the songs on here. If you don't, I'll go like that, and if you want to freeze and zoom in, you can. It's a good album, you know. It is a good album. There's a lot of criticism when this was first released because it was advertised as a double album, and the second album was supposed to be free. which is John with Frank Zappa on one side, and then John with the Plastic Ono supergroup from December 1969 at the London Lyceum. And to be honest, it's not, you know, there's not many people that will play the second disc on this. I've got lots of copies of this album, and I think I've played the second LP probably 20 times in my life. It has got some merits, don't get me wrong. It's nice to hear John performing live and things like that, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, and to be honest, it's not really my cup of tea. I think this would have been better as just a single album, to be honest. But as always, that is just my opinions, and my opinions don't count for anything in the scheme of things, because I don't work for EMI or Apple or Toshiba or whatever. Cheers, everybody. Now, Mind Games from 1973. John getting back to what he did best, writing simple pop and love songs, basically. Not really any political messages or songs on this LP. Again, because you don't get the inner sleeve, you don't get the words to the songs, which is a shame. That is the back, that is the track list in there, if you wanted to zoom in and freeze it and zoom in. I think this one is on Odeon again. Yeah. Now, doesn't that look strange, seeing this on a label other than Apple? Well, just to me, in the UK. I know in America in the 80s and 90s you got a lot of the solo Beatles stuff on Capitol, didn't you, that would have originally been on Apple in the UK. Lovely sounding record. Apparently we are getting a John Lennon 4-track EP on Record Store Day of songs and outtakes from this album, and we're supposed to be getting a box set of this later in the year, aren't we? I say we are supposed to be getting it on Record Store Day, this EP, because I don't know if we're getting it in the UK or not, or if it's just in America. Again, song for song, this is probably a stronger album as Imagine in a lot of ways. Very overlooked again, but fantastic sounding album. Now we've got Walls and Bridges. Now this does have the flip round sleeve, so it can make John stick his tongue out, things like that. Excuse me. Unfortunately, because you don't get the inners with this, so you don't get the inner sleeve with another nice photo of John, and you don't get the booklet with the words telling you who's on songs and the origins of the name Lennon, I think it was. But you're sacrificing them for the sound quality of these records. I can't emphasise how good these records do sound. Even on my basic system, what I've got up here, which isn't anything special, to be honest, it's, you know, it's a pretty basic hi-fi system. Downstairs I've got a slightly better system of Technics with a Denon turntable, and these sound amazing on that. Yeah, some fantastic songs on this, isn't there? There's Going Down on Love, Whatever Gets You Through the Night, which was a #1, wasn't it, in America? Did that with Elton John, didn't he? Old Dirt Road, What You Got, Bless You and Scared, that's side 1. Hey, you don't mind me saying what's on them. Side 2, Nine Dream, which was a hit in the UK. Surprise, Surprise, Sweet Bird of Paradox. Steel and Glass. Now that's supposed to be about Alan Klein, isn't it, I think. Beef Jerky. Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out. That is actually a fantastic song. And Ya Ya. But Ya Ya is only like a snippet of a song, and it has John and Julian playing the drums, if I remember rightly. Yeah, Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out. You listen to that song nowadays and it has probably got a completely different meaning to what it did when John recorded this song in 1974. It's, to me, it seems like he'd got a premonition that he probably won't be around forever. Obviously he was going through a bit of a rough patch at this time as well. He was separated from Yoko. He'd fell out with most of the Beatles, hadn't he? Although I think he was trying to make friends with Paul, wasn't he, around this point? And he'd offered to go on tour with George, hadn't he, early in 1974, and George turned him down. His business affairs were up in the air. Apple was in chaos. He was with May Pang, and in a lot of ways, personally, it was probably one of the best times of his life, because he sort of like got back in contact with Cynthia and Julian, and they went to Disneyland together. Even Cynthia went with them to Disneyland, I think. You know, but from a business point of view, it probably wasn't the best time of his life. And I just think that song, Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out, if you actually listen to it and listen to the lyrics, it is a very, very sad song, but it just makes you wonder if John had got some sort of premonition. I probably got that completely wrong. I'm just, you know, this is just how it seems to me, that he probably wouldn't live to see 50, and he didn't, did he? Unfortunately. Great album though, fantastic album, and this is an album that I hope one day we will get a box set of. Very, very underrated. This is probably my favourite album by John, to be honest. I play this more than any other John Lennon solo album, and it is one I can listen to again and again and again and again and again. Now we've got 1975's Rock and Roll. Again, this is overlooked in a lot of ways. A lot of people used to say this was their least favourite John Lennon album. To be honest, it has always been one of my favourites. Yes, it's all cover songs. There's nothing original about this album whatsoever, i.e. John has not written any songs for it. They're all cover songs. But let's face it, the Beatles did a lot of cover songs. Quite a few artists nowadays are doing covers albums, aren't they? I mean, Paul's done two, hasn't he? David Bowie had done one slightly before this, hasn't he? Pin-Ups, which was all 60s stuff. Now, this is supposed to be rock and roll, and a lot of the songs are rock and roll. You got Bebopaloola, fantastic rendition of that. Suits John's voice down to the ground. Stand By Me, which was the hit in the UK. Again, brilliant version of it. Then you've got a medley of Rip It Up and Ready Teddy, which is okay. Then you've got You Can't Catch Me, which was the song that got John into a lot of trouble with Come Together, wasn't it? Because to nick a line out that song and put it into Come Together, and the instrumentation was very, very similar, wasn't it? Brilliant song though. Then you've got Ain't That a Shame, again, suits John's voice down to the ground. Do You Want to Dance? Now in the UK, Cliff Richard had a massive hit with that in the 60s, and it was like a very, very upbeat, up-tempo sort of dancing number. On here, John sort of does it in sort of like a reggae style, not in a rock and roll style. And I would say that is probably one of the weakest songs on this album, to me. You Might All Love It. To me, that is like the weakest one, that's all I'm saying. Doesn't distract from the listening pleasure, though. Then side one finishes off with Sweet Little 16. Again, a fantastic version by John. Side two kicks off with Slipping and a Sliding. Fantastic song. Why was that never a single in the UK? Can't believe that was never ever a UK single. Peggy Sue, again, suits John's voice down to the ground. Then you've got another medley of Bring It On Home to Me and Send Me Some Lovin'. Again, that's okay. Then you've got Boney Maroney. I've got a girl named Boney Maroney, which is a fun song. John seems to be really enjoying singing that one. Then you've got a full version of Ya Ya, which in one way, the one on Walls and Bridges is a little bit better than this, because the one on Walls and Bridges is just John messing about with Julian. And then the album finishes off with Just Because. Just because you left and said goodbye, da-da-dum, do you think that I would sit and cry? I've always loved this album. You do get all the production notes and everything on there, so if I leave that there, if you want to freeze it and zoom in, you can do. Again, this one is on the Odeon label. Again, this looks really, really strange for a UK record collector seeing this on anything other than Apple. Got one more to do, folks. Just one more. So the last one in this box set is Shaved Fish Collectible Lennon. Again, none of these sleeves are glossy like the UK one, so that is a bit of a downer. But you don't play the sleeves, do you? You know, you play the record. You don't get the inner sleeve, so you don't get the words to the songs. That is the track listing. I'm sure you all know this one, inside out. This was actually one of the first ever, well, this was the first ever compilation album I bought of John Lennon, and I got it just after he died in 1981, I think. Again, this is on the Odeon label instead of Apple, which again, to a UK record collector and Beatles fanatic, is very, very strange. Side 2. Probably, in one way, this is a better compilation than the John Lennon collection, which came out in 1982, slightly after John's death. This is basically his hits with his years at Apple, where the John Lennon collection did have a few other things from like Double Fantasy and things like that on it. Side 1 is edited, starts off with an edited version of Give Peace a Chance, and it is very, very edited. That goes into Cold Turkey, fantastic song. Then you've got Instant Karma. Why wasn't Instant Karma a #1 hit? I'll never know. It's one of the catchiest tunes John ever wrote. Then you've got Power to the People, again, big hit. Then you've got Mother, off the Plastic Ono Band album. And then you've got that song that we don't really mention anymore, which is Woman Is, which I think was actually released as a single in America. I know it was down to be a single in the UK, but then they pulled it at the last minute. Side 2 kicks off with Imagine, fantastic song. In the UK, when Imagine was released as a single, it was actually from this album, to promote this album, not from the Imagine album. So we didn't get Imagine on a 45 single till 1975. Then we've got Whatever Gets You Through the Night, fantastic rocking song that John did with Elton John. Mind Games, fantastic song. I think that should have been a bigger hit than it was. I think it only got into the top 30, I think it was, in the UK. Then you've got Number 9, Dream, Happy Christmas, War Is Over, and then it finishes off with a reprise of Give Peace a Chance, which is actually a live version from the one-to-one concerts from 1972. So that is it. That is the 8 albums that you get in this box set. There is pros and cons for buying this box set over the UK one. Whichever one you get, you will be satisfied, I tell you. I think you can even get this in an Australian version of this as well. The thing that's the biggest pro in this, or the biggest thing for this, is the sound quality. The sound quality of the vinyl is top notch. It knocks socks off anything that was being released in the UK, Europe and probably America at that time. So that is what you're paying for, and which is why this is probably a little bit more expensive than the UK version. The UK version, the thing that goes for that is you get all the original artwork, you get all the original inserts. If there's posters in it, and you get the words to the songs and everything like that, and the sleeves are laminated, but the sound quality is not quite on par with this. I was looking on eBay today, there was a UK one which was at the minute going for about £87. So, you know, if you wanted to get a bargain, you know, this is, I mean, even if you're paying £200 for these, which seems to be about the going rate at the minute, although they are hard to get now, to how they used to be. They used to be as common as anything. If you work out you're getting 8 LPs, you go into certain record shops, you buy them brand new, the £30, £35 plus each. New York City is probably £40 odd. And like I say, these are the original analog versions. They haven't been messed about with it in any way whatsoever. So if you want to hear those albums how John really wanted you to hear them, this is the best way, and in some ways the easiest way to get them. There is another one, isn't there, the John Lennon box, or Lennon box, which came out about 10-15 years ago, which is similar to this, although you do get Double Fantasy and Milk and Honey in that, and they were remixed and remastered, weren't they? I have got a remastered version of Imagine, and to be honest, I don't like it. I do like, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against remastered things, and, you know, keeping the Beatles flame alive, or the John Lennon flame alive, or whatever. But I think if you want to know how these LPs were originally recorded, what they sounded like, this is the way to do it. And if you can get the Japanese version, by all means get it. You will be paying a little bit of a premium on that one. The records are so identical in context, I'm on about, to the UK one. Like I say, there's things for both of them. You know, the British one, you get everything as those albums were originally released with, but the sound quality is not quite as good as the Japanese one. On the Japanese one, the sound quality is absolutely amazing, but you don't get the inserts or the inner sleeves or posters or postcards or whatever else was in with the original LP. Right, that's it. I'm wobbling on again now. So thank you to everybody that is supporting the channel. If you're not subscribed, by the way, just think about subscribing. It is free, it doesn't cost you a penny, and we had a budget in the UK yesterday and everything seems to be going up and up and up and up and up. So here's something that doesn't cost you a penny. So it's a bargain, win-win, win-win, isn't it? Thank you to everybody that is subscribing, by the way. You are all fantastic, and I would just like to say, if you are subscribed, thank you very much. You all mean the world to me. You do me really, really proud. The subscriptions are still going up. The last video I did on the Beatles coloured vinyl, by the way, if you haven't checked that one out, please do. The views on that have suddenly gone sky high. If you don't like this video, which I mean, I hope you do like this video, but if you don't like this video, just check out some of the other videos. There's about 500 odd videos on this channel now, and I'm sure there will be something there that will interest you and entertain you. You know, like I say before, I did do this on one of my early videos, and to be honest, because I wasn't used to doing videos at that time, it was okay, don't get me wrong, it was okay, but I think this is a better way to celebrate John Lennon and this very, very overlooked and underrated box set in a lot of ways. So that's going to be it. Remember, you are the beat of Beatle Dave. Without you, this channel wouldn't be going, really, would it? I do love you all. Whatever you're doing, you know, just be nice to one another. As George says, give me love, give me peace on earth, which Terry Mann mentioned something in a comment the other day, so thank you, Terry. You know, all you need is love. Give peace a chance. Give me love, give me peace on earth, you know. All these things mean something, don't they? So anyway, this is it. This is the end of this video. I hope you have all enjoyed it, and if you've stayed till the end, thank you very much. Hopefully this was worth the wait, because I think this has actually gone on longer than the one that should have been on yesterday. But in one way now, I'm glad that one didn't go on, because you've actually got a better video, I think. So peace, love and happiness to you all. Until the next time, I'm out of here. Bye.